Contractures develop because not all muscles around a joint will weaken at the same time. And as a result of this, boys will adopt compensatory postures and ways of walking. The tendo-Achilles is often the first to tighten. Gastrocnemius and soleus muscles insert into the tendo-Achilles. The usual sports stretch against the wall is easy for most boys. Placing both hands on a wall for support, the boy stands in a step position, with the back leg, which is the leg to be stretched, kept straight. It is important that the toes point forward and are turned in a little as well. The heel is kept firmly on the floor. With the front leg bent, the boy leans towards the wall until a stretch is felt in the back of the calf. A stretch for soleus can also be done in this position, but this time both knees are bent. The leg to be stretched is still behind. The boy leans into the wall, bending the back leg, until a stretch is felt in the lower part of the calf muscle. His heels must remain on the floor. Passive self-stretches can be done on a rocker board against a wall. Positioning is extremely important. The feet should be slightly pigeon-toed to ensure that the tendo-Achilles is being stretched. Knees, of course, are straight. A self-stretch for the hamstring group can be incorporated into daily floor activities when playing or reading. Note that the knee should be absolutely straight and slightly out to the side. Another popular hamstring stretch is done by lying on the floor in a doorway or against a post. The boy moves as close to the wall as possible with his knee still slightly bent. He then straightens his knee against the wall and holds this position. Manual Achilles tendon stretches should be started very soon after diagnosis. The child lies on his back in a comfortable position. The operator cups his heel firmly in one hand and rests the sole of the foot on her forearm. She stabilizes above the knee with the other hand and exerts a downward pressure on it to keep it straight. She then pulls firmly on the heel while pushing the sole of the foot up until a stretch is felt in the calf. If resistance to the stretch is encountered, first bend the knee, then stretch the heel cord, and while maintaining the stretched position, straighten the knee. To stretch the hamstrings, the boy is again positioned comfortably on his back. The operator places the ankle of the leg to be stretched on her shoulder and stabilizes the other leg by pressing down on the knee. She also ensures that the moving leg is kept straight. She then rocks forward, using this movement to perform the stretch. Stretches for the hip flexors in the early stage are best performed with the child lying prone. The operator cups the bent knee in her hand, allowing the ankle to rest on her arm. She places her other hand firmly on the boy's bottom. She then pulls the leg up and inwards towards the other leg while exerting downward pressure on the bottom. This maneuver will also stretch the iliotibial band, which sometimes tightens in the early stage, especially when a wide base stance is adopted. When there is obvious tightening and stretching is difficult, it is often easier to perform the stretch with the child lying on his side. In this method, the operator stabilizes the pelvis with her knee and free hand. The top leg is taken back into extension, and with the knee extended, downward pressure is then exerted on the leg. Stretching the hip flexors may not be possible in prone, as boys get bigger, and an alternative position in side lying may be more comfortable. Notice how the operator stabilizes the lumbar spine with her knee. This localizes the stretch to the hip. Alternatively, the stretch can be performed with the boy lying on his back, with the opposite leg well flexed onto the abdomen to fixate the lumbar spine. Downward pressure is then exerted on the leg being stretched. Important points to remember are to position the child so that he is well supported and comfortable. Stabilize the joints, which are not being moved. The intensity of the stretch should be submaximal and should never cause pain. If the child resists strongly, another method must be employed. The stretch should be held for at least 30 seconds and repeated 3 times. Overstretching is to be avoided, as the muscle responds by contracting further. If the boy actively resists, a lengthening contraction occurs, which may cause further damage to the muscle fibers. Standing frames provide a constant and prolonged stretch for the ankles, knees, and hips. If a regular standing time is incorporated in the daily routine, it will have positive effects on maintenance of range in these joints, as well as physiological benefits in other bodily systems. Another method to provide a sustained stretch for hips and knees is for the boy to lie prone on a wedge for a set time. Sandbags are placed on either side of the boy's pelvis to anchor him in the correct position, and another is placed on top of his bottom. In this way, the hip flexors are stretched. Weights placed over the ankles will keep his legs straight and stretch the knees. Particular attention is paid to the upper limb when the boy is no longer walking and his arms are bent most of the day. Contractures are likely to occur in the elbow flexors, forearm pronators, wrist flexors, and the long finger flexors.